Last time I talked with us about why we do the things, why we act the way we do. And subsequently, we talked about the fact that addictions are need driven. Today, let's talk about the power of decisiveness. Decisiveness is not a gift. It is something you must cultivate. It's a learned skill. So, time and again, you get to hear people sound like they're not quick in making decisions. They're not very good at arriving at what it is they want to do, what it is they need to do. And a lot of the times, we describe it as a weakness. We describe it as something we're not good at. Maybe I need to make it clear today that this is something we can learn. This is something that if we understand how it works, then we can navigate around it. We're talking about breaking addictions. And it is so important that we come to that place where we understand that even when we have talked about why we act the way we act, and even when we talk about the fact that oftentimes people are addicted because addictive lifestyle is used by them as an escape mechanism. At the same time, when you make up your mind to break free from an addiction, the day you make up your mind, you will break free from any kind of lifestyle that you want. As a matter of fact, when I see people who are battling with addictions, and don't forget, I was also a victim. When I see people who are battling with addictions, I see people who lack convictions, people without convictions. Because when you come to the place of conviction, you will break free from every addiction. This is so profound. This is so amazing. So, and I'm going to build on that. Now, there are two basic factors for breaking free from addiction. Number one, as a matter of fact, not just from addiction, there are basic factors that will help you create any dream in life. And in this case, addiction. Number one, they are your choices. Number two, they are your commitment to those choices. As soon as you make a choice, make up your mind that for me, it is over with this lifestyle. For me, it is over with that lifestyle. And as soon as you can commit to that choice, then the deed is done. But like I said, addictions, decisions, decisiveness is propelled by conviction. Convictions themselves are graduated scales of knowledge. As soon as you come to that place where you have acquired knowledge about what it is you're dealing with. I'll give you a simple example. Growing up, I was made to understand, for example, that by the time you do not have control over your sexual appetites, I was made to understand, for example, that having an urge for sex is natural. It's not a bad thing. But when you don't have control over that thing that is necessary naturally, I was told certain things it is going to lead to. It can lead to. An understanding of what that is brought me to the place of conviction. For example, we're told that for every lady you go to bed with, you are not just making contact with her, you are making contact with every other person she has slept with. And you are taking on the spiritual burden that is associated not just with her, but with everyone she has been sexually involved with, whether it's the man, whether it's the woman. That kind of information by itself is enough to bring me to the place of conviction when it comes to how I want to live my life. It's beyond trying to impress nobody. It's beyond a lot of things. It's about what I have decided is what I want to do. So decisiveness is a learned skill. There is what to do that will bring you to the place where it is, and it doesn't matter whether it's in your career, it doesn't matter whether it's in your business, it's in your daily life. You can put the right things where they ought to be and develop capacity to make the right decision at every point in time. So decisiveness is a learned skill. It is the ability to make clear-cut and timely decisions. It is the ability to select between two or more alternatives in order to reach the best outcome in the shortest time. And the ingredients that will enable you make those kind of decisions is number one, knowledge. The amount of information that you have. Therefore, if you have made up your mind that this is what I want, then the next thing it drives you to is to begin to look for every information you need about that thing. It is the reason why there are 5 basic skills that enables you make a decision. And the 5 basic skills begin with your ability to identify your goal. And in this case, if your goal is you want to break, so one of the basic strategies for breaking free, keep your eyes on the goal. To keep your eyes on the goal. This is so important, to be able to keep your eyes on the goal. If you can't keep your eyes on the goal, then you can't gather the information that you need to be able to drive your decision. This is so important, and it is so profound. So you want to gather all the information that you need so that you can weigh your options. You see, information by themselves are not enough. And I tell you the reasons why. There are a lot of people who have information and yet they're not able to drive themselves to the place of making the right decision. The Bible talks about people who are ever learning and not coming to the knowledge of the truth. The Bible talks about people who hold a form of godliness, a form of religion, a form of knowledge, but they deny the power thereof. So we have to take this thing beyond just knowledge. We have to take it to the next level. Because once you have the right information at your disposal, then you want to begin to consider the consequences of that decision, consequences of the goals, consequences of your actions. It is at that point you come to make a decision. But even before we get to that point, how come there are people who have information at their disposal and yet they are not able to make a decision? It takes us to the next level, and that is the level of perspective. Oh, I've seen people talk about tithing, who don't pay tithe. I've seen people talk about prayer, who don't pray. I've seen people talk about purity, who are not pure. I've seen people talk about self-control, who don't have self-control. It means, therefore, that the next thing you must do with information, with knowledge, is that knowledge must be put in perspective. This is what I mean. You must come to that place where you are able to look at the subject matter in all of its perspectives. Look at it from all the sides of it. Because if you look at it only from the point of knowledge, you don't have the propelling that you need to drive you into making a decision. But when you look at all the sides of it, yes, this thing gives me pleasure. That's one side of it. Yes, this thing helps me as a coping technique. That's another side of it. But yes, this thing also has this kind of implication, this kind of implication, this kind of implication. Doing this, I'm going to put my health at risk. Doing this, I'm going to put my partner at risk. Doing this, I'm going to put my future at risk. Doing this, I'm going to put my goals overall at risk. Our inability to look at things from all of its sides, we focusing on one part of truth, is the reason why a lot of us are not able to come to the place of making a decision. Not having holistic view, not having complete, adequate. It's why we use the word informed decision. So to be able to make an informed decision, you need adequate information. That is so important. It is so profound. So until you put things in perspective, can I say this? For almost everything in life, there are not just two sides to it. There are not just three sides to it. Oftentimes there are four sides to it. There are more sides to it than you can imagine. I promise you. As soon as you see all the sides, all the perspectives to what it is we're talking about, the possibility of your making an informed decision is so real. And so you are in this place and there is fire outbreak and your life is at risk and you're telling me you couldn't make up your mind to escape. Who does that? You are in a place where there is an emergency, and as soon as you find yourself in an emergency, chemicals are released in your body. They call them adrenaline. These chemicals have a way of propelling you to take actions you wouldn't have taken on a normal day, to do things you wouldn't do on a normal day, to take strides that you wouldn't attempt on a normal day. And then you are like, I'm not able to make up my mind to do stuff. It's not possible. The reason that is a possibility is because you are not aware. You are oblivious to the fact that there is an emergency, that there is a possibility that you may not be alive to tell the story. That alone by itself, it's enough to get you out of your bed, get you out of slumber. Sometimes you can't imagine what a person that is sick, incapacitated, disabled can do to get themselves to liberty. I'm saying that when you talk about decisiveness, those who you find it easy to get around making decisions, nothing too special about the fact that they discipline themselves to study holistically what it is they have to deal with. And once you have a proper perspective of all that is involved, it will lead to conviction. Conviction is what will be the outcome as soon as you have all the information you need, all the risks are factored in, all the consequences are factored in. All this, there's a tendency people have when they are at the peak of excitement and fantasy and pleasure and arousal. They're like, whatever will happen now should happen. And they don't care what happens. The same people, after they do what it is they did and the pain begins, they start to cry for mercy. They start to say things like, if you forgive me this once, Father, I will never do it again. How come you suddenly now want to be alive when you've all over the place been saying somebody cannot die twice? It's because we come to that place where we do not discipline ourselves to look at what is before us and be able to make an informed decision. For me, this is so profound. So you must make a choice what it is you want. And to be able to make that choice, your goal must be clear. Do you even want to be free from that lifestyle? Have you come to the place of conviction? Trust me, when you enter the dimension of conviction, the next thing that will follow is prompt action. Knowledge, perspective, action. And once action becomes consistent, it's called character. That's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. Therefore, decisiveness is critical if we are going to effectively execute plans and achieve our goals. Let's put it this way. There are two choices we must make again to break an addiction. Number one, you must make the choice never again to be enslaved by any lifestyle. I said all that I've said to say that if you are going to be free from a lifestyle, many of us are already battling with health issues. Our careers are going down. Our goals are no longer achievable. We've jeopardized our future. And we are at the place where we ought to make up our mind, this is enough. Unless you come to that place where you make a choice never again to be enslaved by any lifestyle. Number two, you must make the choice to believe that you have the power to create and to change anything. Because you really do. You must come to that place where you make these two choices. The choice that it's enough for them addictions, the choice to believe that you can create anything, you can become anything, you can do anything, you can achieve anything. As soon as you make these choices, you become unstoppable. As soon as you make these choices, you become unbeatable. As soon as you make these choices, then nothing is impossible with you. And as soon as you have been able to make these choices, the next thing that should follow is attention. What you pay attention to is so important. Because from the point you make a decision, from the point you make a choice, you have lost the right to do whatever you like. That's the first proof that you have not just acquired knowledge, you have perspective, you are a person of conviction, and you are acting in that line, is that you can do whatever you like if you've made a choice. The truth about it is that the only proof of learning is change in behavior, change in direction, change in the body of actions that you predispose yourself to. So what you pay attention must change. Because like we said in our first video or press broadcast, at the end of the day, you came to the place of addiction because of exposure. You can only break free from that lifestyle by redefining, creating a new exposure that you begin to pay attention to. There is something you must begin to pay attention to if your lifestyle, if your disposition to an addictive lifestyle is going to change. And I'm just going to lay this foundation and build it up in my next broadcast. Everything that is going to be created, that is going to become a reality in life, must begin with a thought. Attention, a thought. You must create a thought and pay attention to that thought. If you are going to create a new lifestyle, create a new trajectory, create success, achieve your goal, then you must pay attention to something. And it begins with a thought. What kind of thought? In this case, an image of you free from addiction. You must be able to see yourself free from addiction. You must be able to believe that you can break free from addiction. You must imagine in your mind's eyes, begin to see yourself in that place where you are free. Make up your mind. I dare you. I dare you to make a choice, to make that decision that this lifestyle is over with. Do that, because it's going to take us to the next level for what it is that you must begin to focus on. Until I can bring you to the place where you can make that decision, whatever else I'm going to be sharing with you ain't going to make sense. So make up your mind. Make that single decision. Believe in your ability to break free. And it will not matter whether it is an homosexual lifestyle, whether it's alcohol, whether it's uncontrolled sexual appetites, whatever it is you're dealing with. First of all, believe in your ability to break free. First of all, make the choice to break free. First of all, imagine, think the possibility of your freedom. If we can start from there, the other principles that I'll share with you will make a lot of difference.